up the gain a little bit on my microphone. I had like a ton of people say, "Oh, the microphone sounds good," and some people say, "Oh no, the microphone's too low." It doesn't matter where I said it. Someone does not like it. I hope you saw the prior video, and I mentioned this like a half a year ago about having a space blanket. This one's gold and silver. That way you can get gold and silver. And I got some test shots below. I've had a bunch of people ask me recently. Now this lens is on sale currently for what, $750 or something. It is the Fujicon aspherical. It is the wonderful 56mm f1.2. And off sale, it's $1,000 basically. Right now on sale, it's what, $799, or is it $700? Either way, it's an expensive lens. It is a lovely lens, but then the question becomes, compared to this God lens, which is a manual focus lens, you'd have to use it with a Metabones adapter. Which is the better of the two? Now, there's no question that there's basically nothing to break down in this lens. This lens will last a lifetime and then some. You do have a motor that will break down in this, and as wonderful as the Fuji lenses are, it's not as tough as a Voigtlander. It's just, nothing's going to touch the toughness of a Voigtlander. That's just the way it is, and there's no arguing it, and it's not personal opinion. There's no argument. Now this is a 1.2 and this one is a 1.4. I've got a couple test shots. I'll give you the link below. They're not really fair test shots because the changes are rather dramatic outdoors when you're doing portraiture at f1.4. And there is a creaminess and a dreaminess. Now this is still an art form. Whatever you prefer is whatever you prefer. Let you take a look at the shots. Now the Fuji does have a much more circular bokeh background, out of focus light points, and the Voigtlander has more of a cat's eye bokeh. Some people prefer one over the other. Personal preference, whatever it is that you like. The micro contrast is better on the Fuji. There is better foreground to background separation on the Voigtlander than there is on the Fuji. Both are exquisite. Both are beautiful indoor if you're going to be using a strobe, but most of the people are going to be using these are going to be outdoor. And outdoor, I do believe, at least my personal premise, like I said, this is an art form, and the nuances are slight, but they are definitively there, that I prefer the Fuji, and I prefer the micro contrast and how this lens, the 3D depth and micro contrast in the Fuji is second to none. It's a very low element count lens compared to the Fuji. It's made better. It is a manual focus lens, but we're talking about $400 here versus not on sale $1,000, so less than half as much and easily made twice as good as the Fuji. And Fuji is nothing to sneeze at. This lens is incredible, but it is damn expensive. And there is an internal motor to break, and it's a wonderful lens. Yeah, it does have autofocus, but these are meant to be portraiture lenses. And I really know of no professional photographer that bitches about using manual focus portrait lenses unless they're puss. So my premise is that this is a much, much, much better buy. And even without the comparison, I've tested every Fuji lens made, and I love the hell out of Fuji and back. But this is not a favorite lens to me. The old slow autofocus 60mm Fuji, which is an f2.4. It's like, well, you can't compare the two. I don't care about the damn slow autofocus when it comes to portraiture. I just don't care. We're not talking about shooting birds in flight with either this lens or the 60mm, so hello, wake up. The point is that the 60mm Fuji, well, it is slow autofocus, which doesn't matter a damn for portraiture. It has better bokeh, better color saturation, and better rendition at f2.4 than this lens does at f2.4, well, 2.8 and above. So that lens is actually a better portrait lens at 2.8 and above than the Fuji is. And it's also has higher resolution. And that lens is pretty damn cheap. It's been around for a long time. And it also does macro work. Not one-to-one, but it's still a macro lens. It's an exquisite lens that you actually should consider. So if you want this lens, personal preference is the Voigtlander, but if it's between two Fujis and you absolutely, don't have the cojones to use a manual focus lens, Consider the 60mm Fuji. I mean, for a whole lot less money. Yeah, it does not go down to f1.2 like this lens does, but for a whole lot less money, it is actually a better portraiture lens at f2.8 and above. But, you know, the reason why you have these lenses that are so fast, and this is a premise for another video, is to get the same bokeh out of an 85mm full frame at f1.8, you have to be shooting at f1.4. At least the bokeh is nearly identical on an 85-1.8 Nikkor, for example, or even a Canon lens, as it is the equivalent lens in crop. But the equivalent lens in crop has to be not at f1.8, it has to be even faster still. And testing shows that it's basically like the Nikkor 85s, for example, an 85mm f1.8, the bokeh translational into like this lens, for example, has to be at f1.4, so it has to be a faster lens. That's why these lenses are made to be faster, because a 56mm is a 56mm is a 56. So to get that same bokeh, it has to have a wider aperture to equal that of the 85mm full frame at f1.8. Okay? So take a look at the test shot. The test shots below are really not representative. I mean, I need to take test shots outdoors. I mean, I've taken plenty of test shots outdoors, but not side by side where I switch lenses back and forth. So I guess that's the next step, but much better buy, made better. It's a manual focus lens, but you know, you shouldn't be a puss. You shouldn't be afraid of using manual focus lenses. You know, there's a reason why these professional Zeiss and Voigtlander lenses are manual focus, and it's not simply for future compatibility with the autofocus systems of the Fuji or Nikon, yada yada yada. It's not really the main reason. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.